So today we got this big, beautiful, full body paint XLR Nitro here at this storage unit. We just got done doing a winterization, and if you don't know how to do a winterization but you want to know how to do a winterization, we've got videos for that. Just look in our library and you'll find them. But also the customer's got this nice Cummins Onan generator, and he would like an oil change on it before the winter. Alright, so when we're doing a generator service, one of the first things you do, to which we forgot for a split second there, is you want to start up the generator and run it. And you're going to want to run it for about 3 minutes minimum, 5 minutes. You just want it to get to operating temperature and make sure that it's running right and it's not throwing any codes or anything. You don't want to assume that after I did my oil change and all of a sudden it's not running right, that you did something wrong. You want to know if it's not running right before the oil change. I have had it where the customer's generator wouldn't run right, choke, sputter, but they said go ahead and do the oil change anyway. But if I'd done the oil change first while it was cold and then run it and then found all this choking and sputtering, I don't need it looking like me that it's my fault that it's doing that. But if you own your own generator, you're going to want to know if there's an issue before you do your oil change. So we're going to let this guy run for a few minutes, and then we're going to get back to draining out the oil. We only let out a little bit. It didn't get much out because it was too thick to drain much, but when we get back to it, it's going to come running right out. So I've got my guy Jason down here, and he's going to do the greasy, dirty work while I kind of talk about what he's doing. All right, so old Jason just killed the generator. It ran for a good solid 3 minutes, so that oil should come running out of there a lot better now. Okay, so Jason's using a set of offset pliers there to get that tension ring to make sure that that thing's going to stay on that drain hose off the generator. And it's kind of a windy day, so we don't want to just let it drain. The wind will sling oil everywhere. Generator sounded good, was running good. I checked an outlet inside. We had what, 61 hertz and 108 volts.
Yeah.
So I mean, that volts seem a little low, but they're not dangerously low. It's just a little low. The hertz just a tad high, but it's within its safe perimeters. 59 to 61 hertz is what you're looking for on a generator. So our oil filter. Will you point to the oil filter, Jason?
Yes.
Right there. There's the oil filter. So we're going to have to go up from underneath to get at it. And hopefully the last guy who serviced this didn't put that on there with a ton of mustard, and we can get it off, get the new one on. And Jason's going to go ahead and fill up the new one with some fresh new oil before we spin it on. It just makes everything a little bit happier when it's already full. Also, too, is another note, we put we wrote the date that this guy's getting serviced on the bottom of that oil filter. So if there's ever a question, the least you can do is go outside, lay down on the ground, look up at the oil filter and see the date. So this generator here holds 2 quarts of oil with 1 filter.
A rag on you?
I do. Brought them just for you. The kind of guy I am. Alright, so as soon as that's done draining, we'll work on getting that oil filter out, and I'll bring you back for that. Alright, old Jason's got the oil filter broke loose. Unfortunately, it was on there too tight for bare hands, but he is spinning it off right now. hopefully that oil pan's underneath it to catch it. Alrighty, got that off with no issue. Alright, so there is like a little rubber boot that goes around that filter, and sometimes it can be a little cantankerous getting it, the new one, threaded on. I'm sorry about the shadows. I'm doing my best here. Got us a big mouth funnel there. And we'll go ahead and put the rest of the 2 quarts in. And probably after you get that one in, that's when it's going to start wanting to rise to the top and overflow. You just kind of have to nurse in the rest of it. You know, as far as weight of oil goes, you're just going to look on that service information sticker that's right here on the air cleaner cover, and whatever climate you're in will dictate what size or what weight of oil you're going to use. We're using 10W30 on this today. Now on these generators, the way you check the oil is you don't screw the dipstick all the way in. You just kind of set it on the opening and then pull it out and see what the dipstick says. Yep, the oil is right to the brim. He's rubbing some fresh oil around the threads and that O-ring there.
I'm gonna say it's full.
It's full. It's full. Screw that guy in there. Wipe up some residual oil. And we will call that an oil change. And go ahead and start it up and run it again. And again, just to make sure everything is peachy. Hold it in. Just hold in start. Alright. So right here is the fuel filter. The little can there that I'm pointing at, that's our fuel filter. So we're going to take that guy off and spin a new one on. As you can see, we've got a fuel line here attached to it. So we're going to need to use a hemostat to cut off the flow of gas. And because the last individual used a crimp to crimp it to the filter, we're going to have to cut that line right there at that crimp to get the old filter off. Gas line so it hangs out over the oil pan here. Don't get, trying to minimize our spillage because we're in a storage yard. Don't want to get the customer in trouble. And that right there is the fuel pump. And my man Jason here is double wrenching it. Private jet just flew over. little bit of gas dribbling out of there. I think we got it for the most part.
Whoever decides where all these components go should have to remove a couple first.
Well, I'm sure they would say, well, you're not doing it the best way.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, so now we need hose clamp.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
All right, so we got us a hose clamp and a screwdriver, and then he's gonna stick that guy onto the barbed end. And tighten up that hose clamp. Hemostat off now, so we should have
Reprime it.
we should have action. Yep, yeah, I think so. Let's see what we got here. Looking good here. All right, we got our generator serviced here. We got new oil, a new fuel filter, and we did check the air filter, but it was clean. It didn't need to be replaced, so don't really see a need of putting a new air filter in. So she's running like a champ. And just another little pro tip that I've learned from the Cummins people is, you know, you see your generator there, you know, it's got the cover off right now. If you're in a situation, you know, where you're out in the Southwest, it's summertime, it's really hot, do not take the cover off thinking that you're helping the generator cool off better. Those guys at Cummins, you know, taught us. They said the way that thing's designed, it's designed to have the cover on it, and it's drawing the air that it needs from the bottom. And when you open up that cover, you're thinking you're doing it some good, but what you're doing is you're interfering with the flow of air that does cool it off, and you'll actually make it overheat by having that cover off. So just something to keep in mind in the heat of summer when you're running your generator. But as far as what we got going on here today, we got the unit winterized, got the generator serviced, and we're going to go down the road and do another one, as my buddy Hillbilly likes to say. If you don't mind, we would really appreciate if you guys would subscribe, do the like thing, click the bell. We're doing these videos to not only have fun, but, you know, to help you guys out too, you know, so you can see how things are done. You can do the things yourself. If we're helpful at all, if you find any value in our videos, give us a like, a thumbs up. Go to our Facebook page, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time.